Aesthetic is everything. Aesthetic is everything. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. Aesthetic and taste level and the way that you translate that is everything. You know, when you're developing who you are as an artist and what your brand represents as an artist, you have to make sure that their story is 360 and it touches all aspects of what it is you do. I create a language between a person and a product.
It's an experience. They put so much into the whole show.
There's a difference between your fan base and your consumer base because they're not one and the same.
Going from smaller rooms to bigger rooms is a completely different feeling.
Brittany has to have a way different approach because she's on stage.
And I still get nervous.
Really?
But yeah, I get nervous.
What do you do to combat the nerves?
I feel like the first 15 minutes I'm nervous and then I'm like, oh, I got this, because I know my audience, you know? Like after a while I could read the crowd. I never play the same set either. So like that's always the hardest part, like gauging the crowd. And once I figure it out, I'm like, okay, I just like let loose and feed off of their energy.
That's dope.
So.
Who was the artist that you saw at a young age, or even could be recent too, like who really kind of made an impression on you with a live performance?
I think Kanye.
Wow.
The first show I think I ever went to was like Glow in the Dark tour. Wow. And my mom bought me and my brother tickets.
That's crazy.
And like just seeing like the evolution, like, you know, I know you were talking about like stage design and stage presence, and
that changed everything.
he bodies that whole thing, and he still does.
He brought a lot of that to the industry. Working with artists like J Balvin or like a Pusha T, we always have a really close conversation about what's gonna happen on stage and during the show. And an artist like Pusha that is a solo, one person on stage performer that commands a lot of attention, that's lyrical music, he has to make sure that the add-ons and the accoutrements of the show really have like, you know, some pizzazz and some taste level to them. So with him, it's like we always have a conversation about making sure the brand is consistent from the music, the lyrics to the outfits, what he's wearing.
Yeah, I feel like he does a great job. Like Coachella, I feel like J Balvin and Push did Coachella this year, and just, they really are worlds apart. But
but they both had that same importance. They both put the same importance. Like, again, two different set times in the day, two different audiences. Like that at Coachella is very important.
Like Push's aesthetic was super clean.
Yep.
And J Balvin's was like fun and like, thing, yeah. I always say, I'm like, it's an experience. And I think like the artists that have been in it for a really long time, like they put so much into like the production of the whole show. Like, cause people spend their top dollar to go out and see these people.
That experience to make your money.
I think it's just, it's another layer of storytelling. And I think people who are really invested in your story want to see that represented on stage. And I think it's something you share together. It would be very weird for Pusha to come out with J Balvin's bag. Like I can't even picture what that would be like in my head.
And think about it also, is like you just said, like it's as important for you because you being up there, you have to have the energy that translates to, I don't know, from the 500 person room you were probably doing back with Cannabis to the 15,000 person to the 5,000 person. And every time you grow as an artist, you have to figure out how many eagle wings you need behind you to really, you know what I mean?
That's a good point, because going from smaller rooms to bigger rooms is a completely different feeling.
Of course.
And I felt it the first time I did like a show. Like I pulled up to like a show, I think it was a college show. I don't know who, I can't remember who I opened up for.
And
maybe
vicious.
Muramasa.
Listen, college shows are vicious.
Very vicious.
They don't play.
They're the best though. College shows are the best.
But I went there with that like small stage mentality. Like, yeah, I kill the rooms where I'm personal and talking like that. But then you get there and you realize, yo, this is so much space. Like this is,
how do I even
fill this room with me?
So yeah, just keeping on some live shows, I want to talk to you, Kasim. Mm-hmm. You do a lot of marketing. True. So I want to talk about, you know, what are like the foundational elements you go through when marketing a live show or a live event?
It's kind of easy for real. One thing I feel like any artist should have a cool understanding of is the difference between your fan base and your consumer base, because they're not one and the same. So the way you go about that is that, you know, just because you have your fans, like they just really into you, but that doesn't necessarily mean they'll buy into you. So that way now we got to curate the strategy so that way that consumer base will totally buy into you. The cool thing about merch, it kind of bridges that gap between the two. Oftentimes, the brand lasts way more than the music. So when people see, something tangible, like a t-shirt, on look, they're like, all right, cool, it's a dope shirt, right?
Yeah.
But the person wearing the shirt, it's a whole moment, it's a whole vibe for them, yeah. So that's something they'll carry on forever. And that just translates to you as an artist.
I think also though, you have to realize that merch doesn't necessarily have to always be apparel based.
Right.
Merch is any actionable items that you can get outside of them purchasing your music or a ticket to a show. And I think that in this space that we're in, you have to kind of use all of your resources to convey your message to the audience, right? And as you were saying, merch could be a vehicle, but you have to make sure that it's something that rings true to you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I agree with that 100%.
Have you done any of that yet?
I feel like Drake does a really good job at that. Like, nobody cared about Canada.
I've done it in a completely different fashion. I'm originally from Providence, Rhode Island. I moved to New York about 7 years ago. I just moved to LA like last week or 3 weeks ago. But
everybody in LA has merch.
But
even not artists. Like you don't have to be an artist.
What I did here
there.
when I first moved here is I interned for different people, and I
couldn't tell by your hoodie. I couldn't tell.
But I'm gonna get to it. I created a project called the Intern Aquarium, and that was like my first project that kind of took a life of its own. And my approach to doing the merch for it was I didn't want to. It's just a philosophy I always had. I don't want to be very face value with it, in the sense of I could have just put the album art on a T-shirt and sold it, but then it only would have reached my fans. It only would have reached a select amount of people. So my strategy behind it was making something that anyone can wear because everyone's been through some type of struggle in their life, and something that also still relates directly to my fans.
I think the left field comment is where you should really be focusing too, because it tends to lend its hand more, not necessarily just straight into merchandising, but it can act as a tool for your social media and other things like that. And I know we were talking about off camera, but for the artists that we work with, we're bottling his own hot sauce. So that off rip became like his best performing social media post to date was him just saying he has hot sauce coming out because no one was expecting the hot sauce. So what about just dealing with tour life? What did you learn from that tour and how to just handle the stresses of tour life, keeping your mental health right?
I think you learn a lot about, one, the people you're with, and you learn a lot about yourself, especially when you're doing an early tour, you're not making that much money. It was like my birthday or something like that, and we stopped by my dad's crib. He gave me like a little bread for my birthday, and
These are the stories.
I bought a T-shirt. I had homies question me like, yo, so we don't get money for anything, why you buying a T-shirt?
It's my birthday money.
But just thinking about how each little thing and how it can be calculated when you're compressed with these like
tight quarters.
There was like 7 of us for like 42 days.
Dealing with different personalities.
Too,
yeah.
We had my homie Specs. He has just like this big personality, but like
shout out to Specs.
sometimes you just want to like.
He gonna watch this. And
but sometimes you want to chill, but he's also the morale. So it's like there's gifts and curses of everyone's personality.
But that's necessary on tour. Like I've been on international tours, local tours. I've been on so many tours where, I see that the artists need certain personalities around. Like you need somebody that's, always uplifting, always you need that one person. Then you need that one person that's like, yo, chill, we're not going out tonight. Then you need that one person that's just like,
I'm gonna go get the girls.
I don't know. We don't have any of those, Brittany.
I don't know.
We don't have a girl go-getter.
Not
Maybe
the
on
people
your
you
tour.
tour with.
Not on my tour. We didn't have a girl getter.
That was Specs right there.
Yeah, no.
But
you need that. You need that. You just gotta figure out the balance too, because you can't don't let the things that you see on tour or the people you take on tour ever affect the common goal. If people aren't on your common goal, if you guys don't understand that you're the talent, there's a trajectory, that everybody has to follow and play their role and play by the rules of the system, that's somebody you got to get out the way early.